to highlight some arm balancing, at least work on 3 different arm balances today. We'll take a look at Bakasana or crow pose. We'll also take a look at Titibhasana, the firefly, and Ekapada Galavasana, sometimes called flying pigeon, but it's the pose that's dedicated to the sage, Galava. So working a lot on opening up external rotation in our hips and a lot of core strength and shoulder stability. So we'll get started on our backs. I'm going to suggest that you have 2 blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. For this practice, it certainly may help you with particularly our firefly, but if you have at least 1 or ideally 2 blocks, just make sure that they're handy and set to the side. Then come onto your back and take Supta Baddha Konasana. So that's Supta meaning reclined, Baddha is the bind, and that's the feet together, and Kona is your angle, so the knees go wide. Now play around with either drawing the heels a little closer in, might feel more stabilizing and comfortable for your low back, or a little bit further away, could feel better in your pelvis or your knees. And you can always slide 2 blocks underneath the outer knees if you need that support. So just come into this, this variation, again, of heels closer in, further away, support or not. And then just begin to honor your breath a little bit more with that kind of deepening and lengthening of both directions. Maybe it's the first time this morning that you have paid attention to your breath or acknowledged it. And just allow your knees to pour away from your midline. But try not to force things. So things should be in that kind of balance of effort and ease, sukha sthira. I mean, it always should be, but sometimes our imbalances are all sthira, that effort. And take 5 more breaths, just leaning into the breath a little bit more. And just letting your pelvis kind of wake up. And then take 2 more deep, deep, deep breaths in and out. And then slowly on your exhale, either hands help guide you or inner thighs draw your knees together and hug your knees into your chest. And then roll around a little bit with these kind of mobility inquiries of your femur, moving within each hip socket separately, but yet together. And just take about 3 breaths, kind of rolling around the low back, lumbar, sacral region, and bringing in some of that fluid to the hip joint. And your knees too. You need to check in with your knees. There's a lot of things. We think about arm balances, but it's more like the body, body balancing. So we'll actually start with reclined crow pose, just to kind of recruit the muscles of our core and kind of just bring in that idea of anatomy and shapes and stacking to get that defying of gravity. So we'll take your arms up towards the ceiling, then extend your wrists back. So you'll feel the forearms and the wrists start to stretch a little bit. And we're not weight bearing right now, so it's okay if they're at a slight angle, but extend them back. Draw your low belly down, so navel towards your spine, and you'll feel your knees kind of come in towards your chest. Now, bring the big toes to touch and keep feeling that knee coming in towards the chest as you then start to rise your chest to meet your knees. And then see if you can take your triceps or your knees to your triceps or the outer triceps and scoop the belly. Gaze can go in between your thumbs or towards your toes if that feels a little better for your neck. So Supta Bakasana. And stay for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, And 1. Draw your knees to your chest, and then make your way to hands and knees, tabletop back. So that's like, good morning, body. Then as you start to move into your cat-cows, I'll encourage you to just kind of do whatever type of movement feels in moment to moment good or essential. So maybe it's traditional cat-cow, dropping the belly and rounding through the spine. I'm going to go a little bit more into those side pockets and kind of without that maybe routine, but more of like what's just going to happen next moment by next moment. And we'll have our Ujjayi breath in and out through the nose. Take 3 more rounds of whatever, again, movement just kind of shows up when it does. And then when you return to your neutral tabletop back, we'll start by stretching our wrists. So flip the wrists forward, fingertips go back. They either go towards your knees or they turn out slightly, just to accommodate, you know, the sensation, what you need and what you don't, as far as we don't want sharpshooting pain, but we want dull, achy. I know it doesn't sound very encouraging, but we're actually trying to stress in a healthy way, stress the region. 3 more breaths to warm it up and to, you know, prepare it for taking on more physical load. 2 more breaths. So just like in yin, we talk about stressing the connective tissue, but it's not in the way that we think of stress, you know, normally. So take 1 hand forward at a time. Then keep your hands down towards the floor actively, and only lift the palms up, or the heels of your hands, to as much of the palms as you can to keep the knuckles down, and then lower. And 3 more breaths. Lift it up and exhale down. 2 more, inhale, lift it up. Exhale, lower. 1 more time, lift it up. And then exhale, lower down. With your toes tucked under, toe stretch. Come onto your shins. If you need more support, maybe 1 hand down, then you'll do 1 hand at a time. Otherwise, toes are down, both hands, you'll just open and close rapidly. Rapidly. And again, keep that Ujjayi breath, because there is still this need to nourish our central nervous system, as the toe stretching is a very strong sensation. And now we're starting to feel the wrists, the forearms, strong sensation. 3 more breaths. So let the breath support these strong sensations. Good, 1 more breath. I know it always looks kind of strange. And then exhale, just kind of roll out the wrists, shake them out. Then plant the palms down, point your toes, 1 round of cat-cow. Inhale, soften the chest, look up. And then exhale, round through your spine. Now, tuck your toes under, send your hips back towards your heels, look to your thumbs. Let your shoulders and your chest kind of soften. So you're not pushing down, you're just softening down. Then while you look at your thumbs, push actively into your hands. So hopefully you're feeling a lot of those muscles supporting around your shoulder blade and around the chest. So as you lift your hips up and come into your first downward facing dog, you might notice just these extra layers of engagement, or you might feel your strength a little bit more pronounced. And keep that activation as you pedal out the feet in whatever, again, movements feel just really essential for you. So as you move through your downward facing dog and explore some of those things about your body will show up from yesterday's activities, and weather's been so nice, so maybe if you've been going on long walks or perhaps cycling or such. 2 more breaths. See if you can send a little bit more awareness to the areas of the body that are showing up more today, as far as maybe needing just a little bit more kindness. Then you'll look to your thumbs and walk to the top of your mat. Separate your feet, hip width distance, hands can go down. Like you can just turn the palms up if you'd like to stretch the wrists a little further. You can, of course, take ragdoll. But I want you to just explore this lazy forward fold. Lazy, lazy Uttanasana. And maybe sway to the sides, kind of check in with the lateral border of your body, right? Side to side, 2 more breaths. Make sure the knees have some softness to them. And then take another moment, maybe release the head, neck, or jaw. With the feet about hip width distance, come into Ardha Uttanasana. Hands to the shins and extend your spine. Belly draws in and have a little micro bend of the knees. So it's like your shins are pushing into your hands and then your hands just resist. 2 more breaths. So the back body should be really active. Good, 1 more breath. We want to get nice and strong. Exhale, forward fold. Rise to stand, inhaling Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. And then exhale, draw the palms to the heart. And you can keep your feet hip width or bring the toes to touch, heels slightly apart. It's up to you. Samastitihi, hands at heart center though, as I'll chant the invocation of the Upanishads. And that's the sacred series of texts. Shanti mantra means, as teachers and students, may we practice together on all levels for the betterment of others, not just the self without the ego, protected and nourished. May we take this practice off the mat. Please join me out there at the end of the chant with the Om one time. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinam Ahiramastu Mavirvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Open up the palms, turn them forward, pelvic and belly in, lower bandhas, mula, root lock, navel towards spine, Uddiyana. And then ground down, inhaling, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana, hinge at the hip creases. And then Ardha Uttanasana, inhale, lengthen, look forward. Then step your left foot back, left knee down, low lunge. Let's reach your arms all the way up, hug everything in. And then extend your wrists back. So again, you're bringing the fingertips towards the back of your mat. And then draw everything in. Now push, push, push into the ceiling. Hug everything in towards the midline. Knees are hugging in towards this midline down your mat. And take 2 breaths. So again, you're just extremely strong and active in the upper body. Then take 1 more breath. Get a little bit more like length and extension. Exhale, hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. No lift of the leg yet, but draw the left knee to your lower ribs. And now bring your shoulders over your wrists. See if you can tap the left knee to your left tricep. Pause there. And then step your left foot all the way through. Pull the chest forward. Lift the outer hip on the right side. And then step the right foot forward to meet left. As you inhale, float the sternum. Exhale, fold down. Look within. Rise all the way up to stand. Inhale. And exhale, Samastitihi, same standing. Same thing, second side. Inhaling, just kind of waking up. Exhale, forward fold, hands towards the earth. Halfway lift, hands to the shins. Step your right foot back, right knee down. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Inhale, rise the arms up. Extend the wrists, hug everything in. And take 3 breaths. Ujjayi Pranayama, that victorious source of life. 2 more breaths. So, you can lay in the body or it can really lift and hug in and out. And then 1 more breath, just feel everything kind of turn on a little bit more. Exhale, hands down. Step back to dog. Inhale, right knee to the ribs, shoulders over. And then see if you can take right knee to the tricep. Then step it through. Lean forward with the length of your chest and the left heel back. And then step it to the mat. Exhale. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Fold down, exhale, Uttanasana. Rise to stand, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. We'll add on quite a bit. Inhale, look up. Exhale, fold down. And as you halfway lift, inhale, step your left foot back, keep your back knee lifted. You may want to have both your blocks here. So we're going to actually do a lot of moving parts here. So you kind of just have to listen, but just waking up the joints on the leg. So hands can support you on blocks if you need a little bit more extension. Now as you inhale, pull the chest through, right knee stays bent. Exhale, begin to straighten your right leg to some degree. Now inhale, rebend your right knee. And now exhale, lower your left knee down. Now inhale, straighten the right leg, Ardha Hanumanasana. And then exhale, rebend your right knee. Inhale, lift the left knee. And exhale, straighten it out. So we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, rebend the knee. Exhale, lower your left knee. Inhale, straighten the right leg. And exhale, rebend. Last round. Inhale, lift the left knee. Exhale, come to that pyramid shape. Inhale, rebend the right knee. Exhale, lower the left knee down. Inhale, straighten your right leg, Ardha Hanuman. Exhale, rebend the knee. And then lift your left knee right where we started. Step it back to downward dog. And the legs don't feel the same at all. So take a few moments just kind of feeling how everything from your heels on the right side maybe to even your mid-back feels different than it does on the left. So kind of that continuous conversation of our connective tissue, our fascia, as that movement kind of helped open up regions beyond just the legs, just the joints. From there, come forward to plank and push the floor away. Scoop the belly in and rise the pelvic floor up. 2 breaths, scoot to the toes, side ribs turn on, and chaturanga to the earth, exhale. Anchor the toes, pubic bone, cobra, and then soften back down. 2 more cobras. So the toes anchor, pubic bone pushes, you float the chest, and then exhale, lower down. Come up into cobra pose, then pause. See if you can come into a little bit more height, and then push the feet, push the pubic bone, and float the palms and maintain that. And you can hear it in my voice, it's like, oh, totally different. Then take 1 more breath, lower down, exhale. Come back to tabletop, tuck your toes under, look to your thumbs. And we're going to remember kind of that stability that we need in our shoulders, so soften your chest and your shoulders down. Push your hands into the mat, hips fly up. Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Inhale, draw the left knee in, shoulders over. Left knee towards left tricep. That's like coming into half crow. Bring the knee between. Step the left foot through. Look forward and then step the right foot to meet. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold down, exhale. Rise all the way up to stand. Inhale. Arms by your side. Second side, inhaling Urdhva Hastasana. And fold down. Exhale, Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana in. Step your right foot back, keep the right knee lifted. So again, we're going to inhale, bend the right knee a little bit more. Then exhale, straighten out your left leg. Inhale, rebend the left knee. And then exhale, lower the right knee down. Ardha Hanumanasana. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift the knee. And straighten it out, exhale. 2 more times. Inhale, bend. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, straighten it. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift the right knee. Pyramid shape, exhale. Lunge it, and then drop the knee. Inhale, straighten your left leg. Exhale, rebend the knee. Inhale, lift your right leg. And downward facing dog, Adho Mukha. So, obviously we're feeling the recent, more fresh kind of stimulation of the left side, but maybe feeling a little bit more as you trace the line of energy from, the ball, the heel of your feet, up through the back chain of your body, and feel a little bit more, maybe awakening, more privilege of movement. Inhale, come forward to plank. Now push the floor away and take 3 breaths. Just feeling the shoulder blades round away from your spine a little bit. This is called protraction. So useful when we're pushing the floor away and trying to support our body on our arms. Then scoot forward and lower all the way down to the ground. Let's do those cobras again. Anchor the toes, pubic cobra pose with some help of the palms, and then exhale. 2 more times. Inhale, cobra, and then soften back down. Let's come up to that cobra again. Don't come too high because we want to see if we can take the weight of the hands and keep the support. 2 more breaths and not drop a foot. Good. 1 more breath and then lower down. Back to tabletop back. Tuck the toes, look towards your thumbs. Soften the shoulders, push your hands. Oh my gosh, the pelvis flies up to dog. Right knee to the ribs, shoulders over. Tap right knee, right tricep. Then bring the knee in, step the right foot through, look forward. Step left foot to meet right. Ardha, inhale. Uttanasana, fold down, exhale. Rise to stand, inhale. Sit low, Utkatasana, exhale. So Utkata, powerful fierce pose. Not chair, but we know it is chair. Take 3 breaths. Think about squeezing everything to your midline. And when you do that, when you push the big toes, inner thighs together, there's a channel, a nadi, N-A-D-I, a conduit of energy that goes up to the pelvic floor. Your root lock. It's like a secret weapon. So keep that, hug in, and then fold down, exhale to your Uttanasana. Halfway lift, inhaling Ardha. Let's step your left foot back. Bend your right knee and begin to push down into your right heel. Hover your hands and pull your chest through. So firm up that outer right hip by hugging everything in, pushing the right foot down, and rise your arms all the way up. Crescent pose, Anjaneyana variation. Take eagle with your left arm under. So bring the palms either together. You can always take outer knuckles or heads of the shoulders themselves. Garudasana arms. So forearms away from you. There is that protraction again. It's kind of one of my favorite feelings in between the shoulder blades around your rhomboids because there's so much tension. Is this feeling. Take it away from your forehead and feel that start to melt or peel away. 2 more breaths. Eagle arms. No need to back bend here. Just feel this region around your shoulders. Then exhale, hands down. I want you to push the floor away. Push the floor away. Right knee, right tricep. Push, push, push. Plank pose, exhale. Take 2 breaths in plank. Scoot forward to the toes. Lower all the way down to the ground. Locust pose, palms down, turn the thumbs out, and fly. Both ends fly. Belly scooping in. Breath is equanimous and long. Take 1 more breath, and then soften back down. Draw your thumbs along your ribs. Push back, tuck the toes under, hips back. Look to your thumbs, soften your chest, push the palms. And downward facing dog, a little bit more recruit. Let's take your left leg high. Keep your left leg straight, but start to peel the left toes open. Left leg stays straight. You can start to drift your left toes towards the right side of your mat, but please anchor your left hand, left shoulder. Take 2 more breaths. Good, 1 more breath. Then rotate the hips, square it off. Knee to the ribs, shoulders over, left knee to tricep. Then step your left foot forward, warrior 2. I'm going to spin around, left heel to right inner arch, Virabhi. Then expand the arms. Go deep into the legs and really push down your left foot and your right foot down into the mat. Then opposite directions. So it's like you're trying to stretch your mat. And take 3 deep Ujjayi breaths, extremely active, right? Not just being in the pose, but pose is really in its kind of maybe fully realized activation of Padda Bandha, the energy of the feet, the energy lock of the feet. Take 1 more breath. Then slowly start to straighten out your left leg, reverse triangle pose. Keep pushing into your left foot. Reach your left arm all the way up. Take 2 more breaths. Good. 1 more breath. Inhale. And then exhale, rebend your left knee. Coming back to Virabhi and downward facing dog. Adho Mukha. Downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths in your downward facing. Good. 1 more breath. Inhale. And 1 more breath. Exhale. So rise your heels, bend your knees. And we're going to step or either hop our feet outside of our hands. So hop, step, leapfrog your way. So toes and your knees turn out. Your feet are quite a bit wider than your hips. Bring your palms down either onto the floor or onto your blocks. And then drop the hips. Look forward. And take 3 breaths. So it's kind of this supported horse stance. Good. 2 more breaths. Try and drop the pelvis. The knees go in the line with the toes. Good. Stay for 1 more breath. Then slowly straighten out your legs. Turn your toes in. Standing wide leg forward fold. You're probably at the top of the mat. You're off the mat with the feet, and that's fine. That's completely fine. So sway your upper body side to side. And I mean sway, just going to be playful. Sway to the right, sway to the left. Start to feel, a little bit more either release or maybe a little more sensation. 2 more breaths as you find yourself just kind of flowing side to side without any real pause. And then begin to slowly push down into your feet, stand all the way up. And step the feet together, Samastitihi. Second side, Utkatasana, drop the hips, sit low, rise your arms all the way up. Hug the inner thighs in, squeeze the toes, lift the pelvic floor, that energy line up through the center. Take 1 more breath and fold down, exhale. Halfway lift, inhaling Ardha. Hands for your knot, step the right foot back, squeeze again towards your midline. So the outer hips come in, left heel anchors down, and then you rise your arms up, not from your shoulders, but from your left foot. Garudasana, right arm under, palms together, forearms away. Take it a little bit more in towards that protracted or shoulder blades rounding away from your spine, feeling. 3 more breaths. Protraction is so key when it comes to pushing the floor away with your body. 2 more breaths, your body balancing precariously on something. Good, 1 more breath. Nice, and then exhale, hands down. Push the floor away, left knee, left tricep. Step back to plank pose. Scoot forward, lower all the way down to the ground. 1 breath, locust pose, rise the ends. 1 breath or exhale to lower down. 1 inhale to come to plank. Dog pose, exhale. Right leg floats, keep the right leg straight. Start to drift it to the left, but turn your right palm and your right shoulder down. Take 1 more breath. Just kind of give yourself a little bit more exploration with that lower body. Then square off the hip. Once again, step your right foot through, knee to ribs. Warrior 2, spin your back heel flat. So come into Virabhi, right heel, left inner arch, push down, spread your mat, and let the arms get a little bit more, a little bit more energy projected. 2 more breaths. I think sometimes we tend to familiarize our pose a little too much and almost phone them in while we wait for something that's a little more exciting. Reverse your warrior, push down into the right foot, extend it up. Good, 2 more breaths. Keep pushing. Nice, 1 more breath. Then exhale back to warrior B. Windmill your hands down. Step back to dog pose. And we'll make our way to the top of our mat again in that squat. So look to your hands, lift your heels, bend your knees, step walk, or hop your feet outside. Toes turn out, heels turn in. I'm going to turn and face you. I want you to bring your hands around your ankle bones and bring your knees into your elbows and your elbows into your knees. And from here, scoop the chest through. And take 5 deep breaths. Inhale. And then exhale. 4 more breaths. Preparation for Titibasana, the firefly. Take 2 more breaths. And they'll show you firefly from here with the hands on the mat and then an option to use your hands on the blocks. So if you're comfortable here, hang out just a little bit further and watch or come down into some kind of supported way that you can still keep the muscle tone fresh but not fatigue yourself. So I'm going to drop my butt here even more. Then I'm going to think about my legs as backpacks. So I'm going to take one shoulder, right shoulder under right leg, and then left shoulder under left. And I don't have to have them over the tops of my shoulders by my neck at all. I just have to have them above my elbows. Then you'll plant your palms, and the fingers will go in the same direction as your feet. Now gently, just want to drop your butt back and have your hands here. And at this point, your feet might go, I'm not lifting up. It's Monday, I'm tired. Or you can start by pointing right foot, bring it down, pointing left foot, bring it down, or push, protract, draw the belly in, and maybe both legs energetically point out, Titibasana. So for those of you who are like, gosh, I need more lift. Can't get my wrists down. Can't get my palms down. Bring both blocks back. You'll actually take them behind you. Imagine you're just putting them in the same place you did for your hands before. Only this time, you'll curl the palm of your hand and your knuckles on this block's edge. And that's going to give you a little bit more sit back. As soon as the butt drops, you've got your backpack on, your feet start to fly. So it's really that law of physics. Now, if you have a seat, like if your butt falls back, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Right? If you have your feet here, then you go, sit down. You're an illustrious group of millions and millions of yogis who have fallen on their butt, for myself, multiple times, in trying to explore, like, how much weight do I bring back to lift the feet without coming all the way back down. It's part of the learning of firefly. So make your way to downward facing dog. Move your blocks to the side. Downward facing dog. Good. 3 more breaths in dog pose. Good. Exhale for 2. And then 1 more breath. Really settle in to the smoothness. Let's draw your left knee to your left ribs. Now figure 4. Left ankle is going to come above your right knee. Then you'll lift your right heel high. Bend your right knee deeply. So it's that sweet little figure 4. And it's in dog pose. The right heel is lifted, the right knee is bent. So you should feel buoyant. You should feel that there is some softness to be found as your left external hip muscles and your joint are like, woo, feeling the feels. 2 more breaths. Nice. We'll take 1 more breath. And then draw your left knee in towards your ribs. Left knee, left tricep. Step the left foot forward. Reverse your warrior. So left heel, right inner arch, reverse warrior. Take 3 breaths. Good. Exhale for 2. Good. 1 more breath. Bend the left knee a little more. Exhale. Very light side angle pose. Left forearm is really light, or really light, or really light. 3 breaths. So Parsva Konasana. Help to open up a little bit more of the left side external hips. 2 more breaths. So plant your right palm down, lift your right heel up. There's our revolved lunge. But we're setting ourselves up for Vashisthasana side plank. Push into your right palm. Imagine you're going to open a jar to the right, and then step maybe your left foot into tree pose, Vrikshasana, or you can always bring your knee down. So tree pose variation of side plank. Vashishtha, 2 more breaths. Kind of one of the most powerful of all the sages. Take 1 more breath, and then make your way to downward facing dog. Good, right knee in, right ankle over. Lift your left heel, bend your left knee, figure 4. So a lot of these sages, and they were men. We'll not go into that, but it's patriarchal world of the yoga mythology. 3 more breaths primarily. Got some awesome goddesses to talk about someday, but it's said that the harder they labored in life, the harder the poses were named after them. So take 1 more breath. Good, then back to 3-legged dog. Right knee, right tricep, pause. And then right foot steps through, reverse your warrior. So, reverse warrior. Take 3 breaths. So get just this big stretch on the right side and the strength of the arms, right, curving the spine back. But then the support of the legs really actively grounding you down. Take 1 more breath, then light side angle pose. So again, we're not going to lay. We're going to lightly either place the forearm or take it inside. Take 3 breaths. Good, exhale for 2. Good, 1 more breath, maybe come down a little bit more. And then exhale, lower your left hand, pick up the left heel. Set yourself up for Vashisthasana. So left palm pushes down, open the jar, turn the toes, and maybe Vrikshasana, tree leg. You can always bring the left knee down, right leg up. 2 more breaths, any combination. Nice, 1 more breath, Vashisthasana with Vrikshasana, tree, and then exhale. Make your way to downward facing dog. Then you'll raise your heels, bend your knees, and hop, leapfrog, feet outside. Good. This time come down with your hands onto your femurs, and then lift up. Lift up. My ears always start to get crowded by my shoulders. I become a turtle. My neck goes in, so elongate. Then interlace your fingers, push your palms up. Now push up. Let your shoulder blades actually round out and up. Please don't yank the shoulder blades down. 2 more breaths. Awesome. Good, 1 more breath. Then slowly stand all the way up, arms by your side, and then toe heel your feet together. Turn the palms forward, Samastitihi. Take a few deep breaths. Visualize yourself defying gravity. Visualize yourself being bold. Visualize yourself being bold and yet faltering or not quite making it over and over and over until you get that nugget of availability. That's the arm balance practice. That's yoga practice. Last time I checked, that's life. So now we're going to work towards Ekapada Galavasana. And a lot of times it's called that flying pigeon variation. And we've got some options here, of course. So have your blocks handy. And have your sense of humor handy, and have your sense of attachment out. Okay? So I'll start with my left foot down. I'm going to draw my right knee in towards my chest, figure 4, right ankle. Now my left knee is going to drop away, so away from the top of my mat, and then I'll bring my hands either to the heart center, or I personally like to place my hands on the top of my femurs, towards the top of the quads and inner thighs, push down a little bit, and then externally rotate my hips out. Really solid self-assist. kind of like externally rotating. You've got the balance on the left foot, the chest coming down. What happens a lot of times is people drop their head, go, wow, I'm so deep in this pose, but I'd rather you lift your chest up and the butt goes lower, at least for now. So for those of you who can't quite reach your palms to the floor in this posture, try placing your palms either flat onto the blocks or, like we did in Firefly, to the knuckle line, palms down. This will be a little less extension on your wrist. So this is actually wrist extension, and that is flexion. So you can always put your hands there. Otherwise, start to drop the butt a little more and get those right toes and hook them around your left tricep. If they don't hook the tricep, then you just work on externally rotating the hip more and you say, you know what? I didn't want to take the arm balance today anyways. Even if you wanted to. Attachment, goodbye. So hook the toes, start to drop in a little bit more, plant your palms. Now my triceps are actually really nice shelves for my right shin. It's actually a much more generous foundation than it is in Bakasana Crow. I've got this lever system, which are really strong points of a building or architecture. So toes are going to tuck, excuse me. Triceps are going to come underneath my right shin. Then I'm going to start to shoot the weight forward. Now, if my head's here, I'm like, can't get my foot up, because the law of physics says I have to teeter-totter here, make weight go forward, so this gets lighter. Okay? So you can play around with that. I know a lot of people want to extend their legs, and that's great. You can take your legs long. It's actually harder to have them lower than higher. But those of you who've practiced this for a while, drop your head down and take this into tripod headstand. Oh, good. Then I want you to come out of it the way you came in. So rebend the right knee, hook it, come into your figure four, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Now, the trick is to roll towards the hairline. That way, when you lift up, maybe you refly the leg and then bring it back down. Nice. Before we get to the other side, we're going to take a little bit of rest. So take about 10 breaths. So Galava was a sage, and his teacher was Vishwamitra, which is that flying warrior, kind of more advanced variation, you could say, physically advanced variation of side plank, of Vashista, because Vishwamitra and Vashista were like enemies, foes for hundreds, thousands of years, according to stories. 3 more breaths, but when Galava graduated from Vishwamitra as his teacher, he said, what can I show as proof of my training? Vishwamitra was like, bring me 800 white horses with 1 black ear. Amazon wasn't around back then. Come back to your feet. And he did it. He did it with the help of lots of people. One of his first helpers was Garuda, the eagle, helped carry him to meet these people in his life who would help him. So start with figure 4, left knee in. And a lot of these stories, right, self-assist if you want, are obviously metaphorical. And some of their chronology may be questionable. Like, really? Thousands of years to find 800 horses? Wouldn't they all be? But let's not think about that. He did it. He did it with the help of many people. He did it with perseverance. He did the impossible, and he turned it into a challenge. And what we're doing right now in life, on the mat, could be just that. The impossible, it's going to be a challenge, take a long time, then we'll look back on it and be like, damn, that was really hard, but I made it. So, same thing, left ankle over, bring the palms down, possibly plant your palms on the blocks, possibly plant your palms onto the mat, triceps come underneath your left shin, left toes hook, shift the weight forward, squeeze the heel in, Maybe extend the leg, maybe drop the head down, maybe come up into headstand. Shirsasana variation, tripod. Come back, hook the ankle, rebend the knee, hook the toes around your right tricep, rock to the crown of your head, lift up, fly the leg. Oh, and 800 years later, thousands of years later, we've got all of our white horses with one black ear. Take a few moments just seated. Roll out your wrists. Take a few moments just feeling, right, this sense of not defeat, not accomplishment, but that kind of evenness about having tried and been and done. Done what you could in those moments. Take a few more rounds of breath. Good, 2 more. And 1 more breath in. And then we'll make our way into our downward facing dog. Rise your heels, bend your knees, and step, walk, or float. Feet come forward, halfway lift, Ardha. Let's bring your hands to your hips and rise to stand, inhaling Urdhva, and arms by your sides. So we'll take Garudasana, full eagle pose. Garuda is one of those, the king of eagles, the helper of helpers, was in service his entirety of existence, according to a lot of the stories, a lot of these old rich epics. So as you come with the left arm under and the left leg over, try not to think necessarily about the balance as much as you would the overall offering of this pose. Like, not like you're going, here's my yoga pose to the world, but what qualities does this particular yoga pose maybe stir in you and makes you more of service to others? Then take 2 more breaths. Not about the physical form, but kind of that woo-woo part of yoga. Beautiful part of yoga. Inhale, rise both arms up, and then right arm under, right leg over. Right, more of the essence of the practice. Keep hugging. The right foot doesn't have to wrap around your calf. Just make it active. Right, but if this was just all about physicality, will we stay in this practice for 10, 20, 30, 40 years? 2 more breaths. Possibly not. That more, that beyond is kind of what keeps us, I think, many times. Now, as you inhale, rise the arms all the way up. Arms by your side, exhale. So let's try eagle now in a block. Eagle on a ledge. So going to stand on our right foot, and I'll just mirror you actually. Stand on your right foot on your block. Some of the toes might come over, some of your heels might come over. But I don't want you to take the toes in grip like we were with the hands. I want you to spread the feet out as much. Come onto your right foot, let it drop for a moment, then hug it all in, lift the left knee, wrap the left leg over, wrap the left arm under. And then start to hug everything kind of back so that your knees and your navel line up with your elbows. And 3 smooth breaths. And 2. So now see if you can switch your feet onto the block. I know I have little feet, little person feet, so it's kind of easy for me, but again, you just found 800 horses, white horses with a black ear, so test your knowledge here on switching on one block. So let it kind of hang out, then let it hug in. Right arm under, right leg over. And refine. Like refine it. Don't just get in it and hang out. Keep refining it. Subtle movements to the midline. We'll take 3 more breaths. Exhale 2. Good, 1 more breath. And then inhale, open up. Step off your blocks, move them to the sides. So we did recline crow earlier, and then we did a little bit of that playing of bringing one knee, patellar kneecap region to the outer or tricep. So if you want to revisit Bakasana crow pose one more time, do it with the hands down. If your wrists are done, come onto your back again, right? Supta Bakasana. And just kind of check in with now how your body feels in what is often in the vinyasa world, not in Ashtanga. It's not the first arm balance in Ashtanga. That's actually shoulder pressing, Bhujapadasana. Toes come together, knees wide, arms up, and either take Supta Bakasana, reclined crow, or again come back and now feel like what might be your first introduction to arm balancing feels like after fatigue and yet energy and strength and postures that are kind of questionably harder to do. And if you are at home, you want to play, go into tripod headstand, do it. Some of you might want to play with Ekapada, 1 foot, so you can bring both knees, then shift the weight to one leg, hover the knee, right, bring it back, shift in, hover the knee, bring it back. Take a few rounds of breath. And then we're going to make our way to a seat. Oh, good. So just really quickly, I guess if I'm going to reference Bhujapadasana, don't want you to necessarily practice this, maybe we'll do it next time, but it's coming into firefly looking variation. You normally hop into it though, and instead of lifting the legs, the ankles cross, and it's shoulder pressing, so I'm squeezing. So Bhuja, cobra, Bhujangasana, it means shoulders. And Pita means pressing, so Bhujapadasana. All right, so we'll come down to a seat. There you go. So first arm balance in the Ashtanga practice. So Baddha Konasana, either feet wide. We began with this, recline, so feet wide, fold in, or if you prefer the sensation, the different stretch, bring the heels in and sit up tall. Guess we think of this more of kind of like that butterfly pose. If you sit up tall, heels in, you'll definitely feel more inner thigh stretch. If you take the feet really wide, you'll feel those deep 6 outer hip muscles. And yeah, a lot others, but certainly all of those 6 muscles underneath the glutes that help your knees go away, your hips move away. For a lot of today's practice. And just enjoy a little bit of softness here, right? Not your nth degree of work. 3 more breaths. Exhale 2. Nice, 1 more breath. Now begin to slowly lift your body up, draw your knees back together, and I just want us to come into legs up the wall, Viparita Karani. So if your energy is saying, gosh, Lara, I have to have a handstand or a forearm stand or a headstand, of course, you're welcome to do that. But I'd actually like to encourage that since a lot of today's practice has been very yang, very fiery, that you take something that's a little bit more introspective, legs up the wall. Block can come underneath, and it's your sacrum. So not underneath your lumbar spine, but underneath your sacrum, your pelvis. And that way we can start to bring in more of that quiet, cooling, right, balance to a practice that had quite a bit of Agni, quite a bit of fire. Getting into our parasympathetic rest, digest, and calmness. And it always feels good, I think, to roll the ankles here. You hear all those little chatters of the joints, spread the toes, flex, point. You can rotate in, out. It's kind of actually a good thing to know that your joints have some mobility because they're not stuck, they're not sticky. Right? We haven't built up inflammation or scar tissue. Things are still able to play. Take 5 breaths. Two more breaths. Then slowly place your feet down onto the mat and set up for bridge pose. So let your fingers either just graze your heels or they can be a little bit away, but not too far. Then push down into your feet more. Remove your block. And think again now, Pada Bandha, like you put like a lid on a jar, that's a bandha. So it's the energy that you're containing from your feet goes to your legs. You push down, legs lift up, heels come towards you. Ooh, lower glutes and hamstrings turn on. Then push your knees away from you while you're drawing the heels towards you, and then your frontal quads, hip flexors turn on. So it's not just simply saying like, do it. It's do it. Take 5 breaths. Exhale for 4. 3. Oh, I know I'm starting to lay, so I got to reactivate the heels towards me, knees away from me. 2. 1 more breath. And then I'm going to slowly lower all the way back down to the mat. And draw your right knee in towards your chest. Take your left leg long or place your left foot onto the ground. Rock your knees side to side or little circles. Kind of those little hydrating hip joint playfulness. Then extend your right leg long. Take your hands just to your hamstrings. I know you could all grab your toes, but just take your hands to your hamstrings for a few breaths. Then see if you can pull the toes back just a little bit more with your hands helping you traction, not too much. Then lift your shoulders and then keep that leg stretch or maybe make it deeper by pulling your toes back with the strength of the legs and the awareness of your core muscles. 3 more breaths. Right, navel towards spine. Really deep hollowing out. 2 more breaths. Good. 1 more breath and maybe hands to your calves. Release back, or maybe now the hands go to your feet, arches, the ball of your foot, any of that. Take 5 breaths. Two more. And then rebend your left knee. If your leg is straight, place your right foot down. Oh my goodness, so different. Leg to leg, so different. So then let's draw the left knee in, right leg long. Take those circles, or again, side to side. Either way, what you're feeling on the low back, low part and upper part of the pelvis and around the front of the pelvis should just feel really pleasant. Doesn't really matter what your method is. There's just that kind of release and massage and mobility. Then hands to your left hamstrings, extend your left toes up. And have your foot be, active, not just blah, but kind of active. You could have the toes pointed and flexed at the same time, the point. Or I'm a pointer, I tend to point a little more. Then draw the left leg a little bit more with traction. Then lift your chest up, lift your hands up, pull it back more on its own. Belly in. Navel towards spine. Low back is supported. 2 more breaths. Now either catch your calf or your left toes, ball of your foot, arch. And 3 breaths. Nice, 1 more breath. Then bend both knees back in towards your chest. This may be a place where you wish to take happy baby pose, right? Flex your feet. We did wide leg forward fold earlier. Maybe you want to take reclined straddle. And then bring your knees back in towards you. Make your way to a seat by a wall. Okay, so roll over to your right side and make your way up to a seat by a wall. You can do this standing as well, but I'm going to show it seated. Now, I'm going to start with my knees together, so in a bit of a thunderbolt. And I'll show you at a slight angle, but my arms aren't going to be at an angle when I do this. I just want you to see that my palms are going to be on the wall. Fingers are going to go straight up, so my wrists come into extension. And my shoulder and my elbow are going to be stacking in line with my wrist. So bring your right arm to the wall. Fingers go up. Wrist is in line with your elbow and in line with your shoulder. We're going to do pretty fun, yummy shoulder kind of stretch. Now, push your right hand into the wall. Open your jar to the right. Feel the shoulders, right? All that hugging of the shoulders. You actually feel the bones, a little bit of the bones rotate externally, but you're not going to physically move your hand. Then you'll slowly start to, without locking out the elbow completely, turn your chest away from the wall. But keep opening your jar. Keep opening your jar. And now you're probably retracting or drawing your right shoulder blade firmly onto your right side of the spinal column and melting some of the tension in those cranky little rhomboids that are running in between the shoulder blades parallel. Keep pushing. You can turn your knees a little bit further to the left, but trust me, more is not better here. Take 5 breaths. Please do not just yank your arm down off the wall to come out. When you're ready to come out, bring your knees back to where you began before you remove your arm. Please, please, please. Compassion. So over the next 2 breaths, maybe start to walk your knees back towards that neutral place and then drop the right hand down. Now, as I face the camera, I feel like I'm exaggerated to one side, and I'm sure I am, at least a little bit. But what you may not see visually cannot be necessarily explained physically. You can feel. So we'll do the other side. Left hand. So your left arm is straight, but the joint is not locked out. Push your hand into the wall like you're going to open a jar to the left now. So you'll feel that humerus, the upper arm bone, the humeral head, the shoulder joint, glenohumeral head, like actually rotate a little bit. Then you start to turn your knees away. Keep that jar opening. You don't need to make those obnoxious sounds, not really sure. Feeling a little unanimated today. So now the left shoulder blade, left scapula is like hugging onto the left side of your spinal column.